All right, so I think one of the first things that you notice when you come into the freight broker business or the trucking business is the competition. There's stiff competition. And if you don't like competing, if you don't like competition, this is not a business that you would want to come into because you have a lot of competition, right? And it's basically you figuring out how to stand out amongst the competition. What's special about you? What is your unique selling point? Why would shippers want to work with you? Because as a freight broker, what you have to realize is not only are you competing against other freight brokers, you're also competing against carriers because some carriers go direct to shippers as well. So think about that. Think about what your service is, what you offer, and why would a shipper want to work with you? Because that's the question that you have to answer. I think a lot of people are in the thinking that because you start a freight broker business, you can just go and say to shippers, we want to help you move some freight, and they know that you have trucks and they're just going to start working with you. But it doesn't work that way. You have to show shippers that you are worthy of their business. And I believe how you do that is being able to show how your service can solve your shipper's problems. If you can't do that, then you're going to have a problem obtaining a customer base. And customers, whether you understand it or not, customers move a freight broker business. Customers move a trucking business because we all know that the gold, the G-O-L-D in this business is freight. Without freight, a freight broker or a truck driver does not have anything. So we have to have that freight. The question is, how do you go about obtaining freight? What are you doing to obtain freight? What's your method? What's your method to the madness? Because I don't think if you approach this just kind of shooting from the hip, I don't think it's going to work out for you. I think it's important to have a way that you're doing what it is that you're doing, a systemized way of attacking getting customers. And if you do that, I think that you can be successful. When I say a system, putting a system in place, what I mean by that is saying, okay, these are the number of customers that I'm going to reach out today. I've done my research on these customers. I understand some things about their business, and I'm going to start calling them cold calling. Some of these we hope to be warm calls because you may have been doing it for some time, but we don't want to just rely on cold calls, because if you're just relying on cold calls, that is going to be a long road to hoe, right? So we don't want to just rely on cold calls. We want to, do some warm calls. We also want to have referrals. When you're working with customers already, you want to get them to refer you to other people that they may know already. Because of course, if I'm a shipper, the likelihood of me having shipper buddies is very likely. So if you do a good job with that shipper, then you want them to refer you on to people that they may know in the business. And sometimes what you have to do is to ask for the referral, right? Sometimes we just think that, oh, they'll tell somebody about me because I've been working with them for a little while. And they may, but it's always important to cover the bases, I believe. I think it's important that you ask for the referral, because the shipper may think that you're not interested in, getting more business. You haven't said anything about it, so they may say, hey, I'm not going to put them out there if they haven't asked me. So I would always say, ask the shipper to do referrals for you. Hey, if you have someone that is in the business that's, working as a shipper, needs loads moved, I would certainly be appreciative if you would pass on my information to the individual, or if you would connect us on a call. That would be even better, right? So it's just about taking a look at what you do and seeing what type of results are you currently getting from that. If you're seeing some good results, then maybe you should keep doing some of the same things that you're doing. But if you're not getting the results that you want, I think it's important to start taking a look at what you're doing and then making some adjustments. If you're making calls at a certain time, then You look at the number of people you're actually talking to. If you're not talking to a whole lot of people making calls at those times, then it's probably a good idea to start shifting your times that you're calling customers, right? You also want to look at what it is that you are saying to your customers. How are you introducing yourself to your customers? What are you talking about? What questions are you asking? How are you building that conversation? How are you building the relationship? What are you doing? You're going to have to deal with that specifically to be able to change some things in order to get better results. That's what I wanted to share with you today. This customer process is a competitive process. It's a competitive world that we live in. That's just a part of it. You have to accept that and be ready to deal with that on a day in and day out basis. Competition, competition, competition. It drives the success of a freight broker business or a trucking business. And you have to accept that and be ready to deal with that when you come in this space. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. Also, if you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's the 5-video series. It's titled How the Load Moving Process Works, and it gives you a look at the freight broker business through my eyes. You get to watch me in my office moving loads, talking to shippers and carriers, so that you can get a better understanding of how the business works before you come into it. And I'll also leave you a free video right here that shows you how we go out and find the customers, find the shippers that we work with. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you all the way at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.